Overnight, we learned that President Trump ordered the drone strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani.
The U.S. saying he was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of Americans during the Iraq War.
We caught a total monster. We did it because they were looking to blow up our embassy.
He didn't cite a specific piece of evidence. What he said is he believed.
Are you saying there wasn't one?
I didn't see one with regard to 4 embassies.
Half a generation after the Iraq War, the media is better at focusing on the credibility of intelligence rather than accepting government talking points at face value. But we're still not getting it right. When Iran launched a retaliatory strike, CNN and Fox did not cut to a news anchor. Instead, hosts of their primetime analysis and opinion shows delivered the reports. Talk about blurred lines.
We, on this show, we're going to be as careful as we can and try and get you the facts as they come in throughout the hour.
Hard to believe, since Hannity is as much a part of Trump's media apparatus as a White House advisor. Cable television has long been known to adopt a patriotic point of view before it adopts a journalistic one. Remember Operation Iraqi Freedom?
First, though, some sights and sounds from the past week of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
The Bush administration launched the Iraq War on flawed intelligence about weapons of mass destruction that misled the public for years.
It threatens the peace with weapons of mass murder.
Too many members of the press repeated government lines without a critical eye.
A lot of us should have been a lot more skeptical, but it was hard to have, at least for me, hard to have that much skepticism when people that I really respected, like Colin Powell, like Dick Cheney, and others were making the case for war. I tended to believe them, and of course it was only in hindsight that we found out how questionable a lot of the intelligence was.
Max Boot now writes opinions for The Washington Post and is a CNN commentator. He is, he says, a reformed conservative, shocked out of groupthink by the trauma of Trump.
I mean, I don't think I was a part of a propaganda arm. I do think that I was caught up in the moment.
That moment was the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks. Boot watched from the street near one of the World Trade Center towers before it fell. A month later, he published a piece in the Weekly Standard titled "The Case for American Empire." Boot didn't just support the war after it happened, he made the case beforehand. And he wasn't alone. The Washington Post's editorial board made the case for action, and commentators like Bill Kristol and Christopher Hitchens took up selling the invasion. With soldiers' lives at risk, government lies were minimized, patriotism maximized. We should have known better. Misleading the public about war isn't new. Press briefings during the Vietnam War were considered theater of the absurd, and a recent Post investigation revealed senior U.S. officials have misled the public about the Afghan War for 18 years. Journalists and commentators may be more skeptical now, but in times of crisis and under pressure to have a take, memory can fade. Fox News invited Iraq war advocates on to talk about Iran, and other cable news and even the Post have carried opinions by military analysts who also happen to have financial ties to the defense industry. No matter how experienced or respected someone is, the public has a right to know about their financial ties. It makes it a little easier to spot the groupthink.
I mean, I think something we have to guard against is this notion that simply because you're killing a bad guy, you're necessarily making the situation better. And that was something that I was prey to in the Iraq War, because, you know, I looked at Saddam Hussein and I said, this is one of the worst war criminals in the world, somebody who has the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people on his hands.
The longer an administration at war insists that its intelligence is credible, but chooses not to share it with the public, the more trust erodes. As doubts about Trump's decision-making increase, the more he'll flood Facebook and Twitter with propaganda, skipping the press altogether. In a crisis of credulity and a time of war, we must demand context and question everything.